Here we are. What is up? Facebook Live. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. And we'll just give it a few minutes here while we wait for a few people to drop in. Oh, a couple people already. What's up, new people? Early people, hello. My name is Chris. You know that because you're watching my live stream. Tonight, we are going to talk about setting up your home studio so that you can have epic looking and sounding content. Tonight's focus is primarily on lighting, though. So we're going to talk a little bit about lighting. We're going to talk about set design, all of the stuff that's around you. We're going to talk a little bit about audio. And I also want to talk a little bit about like the general idea of crafting an experience for your audience so that you get the audience to be excited to keep coming back. So you guys do me a favor that are here. There's a couple people here already. Drop me a comment and let me know that the audio and everything is working. I've got like a pretty elaborate setup going on here, and I want to make sure everything's plugged in all right. So give me a thumbs up emoji or a hey, what's up in the comment, and I'll see it pop up. And let's do a little fun opening thing here as well. Drop a comment in there to let me know where you're watching from. Mary Beth says, sounds great. All right. So as well as we jump into this, if you guys have any specific questions or if I glance over something that, all right, yeah, so thanks. So I can see you guys' comments pop up right here. So if you have anything to share, sounds great. Priscilla says, perfect. Rob is watching from Connecticut, and he is not on Scam right now. So if you guys have any specific questions, or if I glance over something watching from Las Vegas, drop a comment there, and we'll like this whole, we're going to talk for about a half hour, maybe 40 minutes. So this is for you guys to ask questions. I get messages every single day of people asking me about like kind of setting up your home studio. And I just really don't have time to specifically answer everyone one-on-one. So that's what we're going to do here. Everyone together. Las Vegas, Los Angeles. We got people from all over, and here it is. So a lot of people often ask me, they say, this is cool. This is kind of like the setup that we always see from right here. Everyone always asks, can we see what the actual wide looks like? I got it for you. Not only did I show you what it looks like here in my normal setup, I got another camera over there on the wide, and that camera is showing you a little bit more of what's up here. That camera is showing you a little bit more of the kind of what the actual setup is looking like, where the lights are coming from. You can see the microphone here. Over on that one, you can see this big soft box. This is the aperture light dome. And then you can see all of the kind of set pieces behind. And then we also have another backlight kind of lighting. You see that, how that lights up my shoulder right there and kind of like lights me and kind of helps to separate me even more off the background than the normal lights. So that white long tube is from Quasar Science. So we will get into this in just a minute. I'm going to explain why all of these things are here and what they all do, and how, and my strategy and kind of ideas of why I use them all, and how you might be able to come up with your own ideas of how to use those. Denise in Clearwater, Florida. St. Pete. Scott, are you in Florida? Everyone's in Florida. Everyone's on vacation. They're like, yeah, we don't go to work anymore. We're going on vacation. See you later. All right. So let's start with first. We'll drop a little banner here. So first is soft lighting. So hit that. Number one, soft lighting. Let's do that right. So our first topic that I want to talk about is soft lighting. So people often think about specifically about like a bright light. We hear it all the time. We hear people say, I need bright lights for video. And then we see people put like this massively bright spotlight right in front of them, and they wonder why it doesn't look particularly great. And so while bright lights are really, really important, what's more important than it just being bright and blasting you with a bunch of light is that it's soft light. So now soft doesn't mean, so sometimes, so there's two kind of a little bit of misconception. So like these warm glowing lights, sometimes people mistake warm temperature, which is the color, with soft lights. So those are two separate things. We won't get into too much of that. We're going to talk about soft lighting. And if you look over on the wide camera over there, that one, you'll see here in front of me is this big dome of a light. So that's a big dome. It's got a light in the back. And what happens with that light is it shines through two sets of diffusion. Diffusion just means it's shining through, like imagine a curtain on your wall that you can kind of see through. That light that comes through is really soft and diffused. So that's what this is basically doing. This is basically creating a big window, a big wall of light that's very soft and very diffused. So what I do with the soft lighting is keep it so you can see, I'm looking straight at this camera here, and that light is right there. It's about a 45-degree angle off of me from the front. So it kind of is grazing down over here. You can see it hitting this side of my face. That helps like accentuate your jawline and keep you looking slim and nice. And it also comes, so I have to be very careful with glasses. Now, right now I have 3 monitors in front of me. So you'll see glare off my glasses right now, but that's just coming off the monitors. So if you have glasses, one of the big things that people struggle with when they have glasses is they put the light right in front of them, shining on their face, and then the light will shine off their glasses. If you don't have really good anti-reflective coating on your glasses, you'll get these big light reflections in your glasses. So you get a couple benefits of putting the light up high. It kind of like grazes the light down and helps accentuate your jawline. You can see this like shadow kind of happening under my jawline. It kind of makes it a little bit of like a slimming effect almost on your face. But also it's, a lot of people wear glasses. So it also helps to make sure the reflections aren't in your glasses. And again, I know you can kind of see some reflections in my glasses right now, but again, it's because I'm literally surrounded by monitors, and I was trying to fix it before we started this, but it was kind of impossible right now with this many monitors. Hopefully in your space, you don't have this many monitors going. So that's the first thing, the soft lighting from about a 45-degree angle off to the side. So it kind of grazes in. And so there's a couple things that will help you get soft lighting. So sometimes people will decide, oh, this light is too bright, so I'm going to move it back far away from me. And that does make light dimmer. If you move a light source further away from you, it gets dimmer, but it also becomes harsher. So there's some science involved with this, which we won't get into, don't worry. But basically, like, we don't really want to move light further away. We want to have a big source of light. You can see this big dome. It's a big source of light. It kind of like rains down a big wall of light on me. It's really close to me. So it's right here. I could touch it on the wide. You could see me touching it right there. So it's really close to me. It's big and it's bright, but it's not like blindingly bright. So I have it really close, which means I had to turn down the intensity a little bit. So recap that. Soft lighting is key. If you have a really bright light, a good trick that if you don't have a dome like this, you can just bounce it off a wall near you. If you have a light colored wall or a curtain, you can bounce the light off that wall and you'll get a nice, soft, more even looking light. And it won't be so harsh like you're getting hit with a spotlight or in front of a car getting hit with a headlight. You could imagine standing in front of a car with the bright headlights. Those aren't very soft lights. See, they're small sources. They're usually pretty far away from you, and they act like a spotlight, and you don't look very good if you're on video in front of a spotlight or a car headlight. So keep your light source big. If you don't have a dome like this, bounce a light off of a wall. If you don't even have a light and you're filming during the daytime, you can get those sheer curtains like at IKEA for like $20. And that'll like, you won't be getting hit by the sun so bright, but you'll have a little bit of like you'll have diffused light. It'll be a little bit softer. It'll kind of act like this dome here. So that's soft light. From the front, if light's hitting the front of your face, you always want that to be as soft as possible with diffusion of some sort of what you can get. So then the equally as important is of the front soft light. I think I absolutely love a lot of backlighting. You can tell here I have these light bulbs. These are like hanging string bulbs. So sometimes people think these are green screens, but those are real bulbs hanging there from the ceiling. They help to, and in the we'll kick over here in the main wide, just so you can see it a little bit better. They really help to kind of pop me off the background. You can see like there's some light hitting my shoulders, and that backlight really makes it so I stand out off that background. Otherwise, you sometimes get to kind of blend into the background. And then additionally, so those lights do pretty good. But then I have this big, you can see in the wide there, it's a big, it looks like a fluorescent tube. It's actually an LED tube from Quasar Science. And I'll have a link at the end of this for a recommended gear list and some ideas of some stuff that you guys can buy at all price levels. So I'll have options for like the expensive, like go full on and set up a studio. And then some cheaper options that you can just grab on Amazon if you want to start getting set up. But the light from behind, equally as important as the light from the front, because it separates you from the backdrop. I'm going to kick back to this wide, the main here. And you can see here this like kind of like outline of bright lights. You could see it here, and you could see it kind of wrap around my head from the back from that light coming there. And you can see how it just almost like gives a little bit of like a halo effect around me. So it kind of pops me, again, that helps pop me off the backdrop. So what I like to do is keep the front one so camera's right in front of me. This light is about 45 degrees off to that side. And then that back light is kind of the opposite of the front light. The front light's called the key light. And then the back light is kind of the opposite. So that one's shining here from there, and the back one's shining here from this side, and kind of like helps even me out. And there's some shadow on this side of my face from the light coming here. But then that back one kind of like catches there and fills in a little bit of the side there to make it look good. So one of the things that, one of the things is, I think a lot of people then when they have like a cool backdrop, they'll put a cool backdrop up there, put their light on them, but then they won't have the backdrop lit up. So the backdrop lit up, if you have curtains or something, what I like to use, you can see this one to the wide there. I have these little LED cans, and those, I probably just messed up where the light was hitting, but I wanted to show you those light up the backdrop a little bit more even than the hanging lights do. So lighting up your back wall is really essential. And again, if you don't have, those are like stage lights. If you don't have those, you could do so many things. You could get like one of those clamp lights at Home Depot and get a light bulb and clamp it onto a side of your dresser, or just set it on the ground and shine it up onto the wall. Those clamp lights cost like $7 at Home Depot or Lowe's. And that'll help pop your background. That'll do another one of the things that helps separate you off the backdrop. And again, it's one of the things that a lot of people forget about when they're lighting, is they think about lighting from the front and forget about kind of like kicking the light from the behind. And they almost always forget to really light that backdrop so that it feels vibrant and alive. You know, we want to create things in the set that encourage the audience to care about what we're talking about, care about our message. And of course, while our set isn't the most important part of it, what's key is what we're talking about, our message that we're trying to convey. there's a lot of people doing live streams and online content, and it's easy to just be like, this doesn't look good. This doesn't sound good. I'm going to swipe past it. I don't feel like trying to listen to this, or it's easy to swipe right past people when they're posting stuff. But when you have good looking and sounding content, people are like, oh, wow, this guy or girl knows what they're talking about. They know what they're doing just based on the first impression. It's like wearing a nice suit or outfit to your job interview or on a first date. That first impression is really important. And the easiest way in making online content is setting up your lighting, getting your audio, making your set look really good, and making people really impressed right from the start. Because if they're impressed with your thing instantly, they're going to be more likely to listen to what you have to say, whether you're advertising your business or making a podcast or whatever it is that you're doing online. It's so key to make that all happen. All right, quick check on the comments here. Rob is now in Florida. Do you always run 3 monitors? Not always. All right, it's just like Booby Trap recording with extra monitors. Yeah, I like that, Steve. It's like Booby Trap reunion family with extra monitors. All right, that was our little intermission, and we'll get back to it. Again, if you guys have specific questions about any of this stuff or would like to guide the rest of the conversation, we'll go. I wanted to specifically talk about lighting, and I know I kind of I started this with the advertising it as specifically for lighting, but I wanted to also kick into a little bit of ideas about audio, because a lot of people also often have a lot of questions about audio. So let's go back. Let's go into the topic of audio. That is what you sound like. So a few key things. So audio is one of the most complicated, but doesn't need to be completely complicated. Audio is one of those things, as with anything, as with lighting, as with cameras, as with everything, you can get the ground level basic fundamentals, and that will get you so far just thinking about the basic fundamentals and getting a rock solid foundation. And then from there, you can go like infinitely more, but you tend to get such an incremental improvement after you have those basics. So the key thing for audio, if there's one thing, get out your notebooks. If there's one thing that you absolutely need to know about audio and getting the cleanest, crispest sound, is that you need your microphone to be as close to the thing that's making noise as possible, which is your mouth. So you'll want your microphone to be as close to you as possible. And we all know, we've heard, having something like using a phone or something, and it's like real on the other side of the room, and you're trying to film somebody, you're getting all of that room noise. Just like with light, the further away a light source is, the dimmer it gets. Just like your voice, the further your voice is away from the microphone that's recording you, the quieter it is, and the more likely you're going to start picking up different noises in the room. Right now, I think I have a neighbor making noise upstairs. I'm not sure if you heard it. There's a road out that window, so there's road noise going by there. If my microphone was on the camera, so you can see in this wide camera, my main camera is pretty far out in front of me. Like I can't reach it. It's probably like 6 feet in front of me. So if my microphone was just on that camera, it would be pretty far away from me. And it would sound, I'd start to get a lot of room noise in there. So key to audio is get your microphone as close to you as possible. If you have an external monitor like this, I have a shotgun mic up on here. Most people that are just getting started aren't going to have quite that setup. So you can, if you have a more wide angle lens, you can put a microphone on top of your camera. And there's some really good cheap, like the Rode Video Micro is like a $60 microphone. It mounts on top of your camera and kind of like aims the sound. It aims the pickup at you. And it's one of my favorite microphones. And again, I will have a link at the end of this coming up here in a few minutes for you guys to check out some of my gear recommendations, and you can sign up for my email list, which I'll send you some more tips and tricks. All right, we'll kick into a few more things here in a little while, but let's jump into some of these comments. Bree says, sometimes I use my iPad as a prop, lots of glare. Any tips besides trying to shade it from above? You mentioned your glasses had a coating. Does something like that exist for iPad? So it's glaring off your iPad. Yeah, that's a tough one. Oh, so you use your iPad to show the screen. Yeah, so if the light is coming more from above, it won't. So light tends to bounce directly off of surfaces like a mirror. So if your light's coming from more above rather than straight in, that will help with the glare as well, or off to the side a little bit. So it's not, light tends to bounce back to where it came from. So if the light is right by your camera, the light's gonna come from where the camera is, hit that surface and bounce back into the camera. You can use dulling spray. Scott says you can use dulling spray, but it'll probably make the iPad less fun to use. Yeah, that is a really good idea. Anti-glare or privacy screens that might help with that. That's true. Those they're kind of like make it a little bit more muted out. I don't use iPads on the screen. But yeah, I think that's the main thing. If you do use a screen or something like that, you could see in this monitor on the wide that one's kind of picking up a lot of like glare. You could see that like as I point it back towards that camera, you'll see it picks up glare and bounces it back into the camera. So if you put it at an angle, or if your lights were at a better angle, you'll get less glare onto things. It's going to be just a bit of a trial and error and experimental things. Okay, so we talked about lighting first and how the importance of soft lighting, keeping it close to you, keep your light source big like this one, and keep it soft by diffusing it. So that's bouncing it through something or off of a white wall or a curtain, or letting the sun shine through a kind of one of those see-through curtains. That's like a really good idea if you don't have your own specific lights. Then we talked about the importance of backlighting. So that's that light back there and all these actual real bulbs kind of filling in from behind to gives me that pops off my shoulders. It gives me a little bit of a halo around my head to keep me separated off the background. Talked about the importance of lighting the actual background, the light bulb on the floor shining up, again, to give more separation so we don't blend into the background and keep, hopefully if you're addressing a camera and you're talking, you have something important or fun or entertaining to say. So we want to make sure that's clear. Like you want to be the center of focus. You want to be the center of attention. We all want to be the center of attention sometimes. And probably if you're doing a live stream, you want to be the center of attention, at least during the live stream. Then we talked about audio. So audio is so important. There's like in the industry, it's common for people to say good audio is even more important than good video quality, because people will be like, oh yeah, the video was pretty good, and or the video was pretty bad, but they will instantly be like pretty frustrated if you have unclear, bad audio. So audio is essential. And then we talked I didn't really get into set design, but that's something that we can probably do a whole nother round of, because I don't want to keep everyone here too late. Again, we will wrap this up here in a few, but specific questions kicking in, let me know. And before we tie this up, I wanted to let you guys know I have a specific, if you want. So there's two things. If you want to sign up to my email list, you can do so. It's all free, and you'll get some more tips. And I will have a specific gear list, a recommended gear list. Stuff like this, my little LED lights that I use for the bottom. And even these are really good. These are my top recommended lights from Amazon. And they have these little barn doors that you can kind of like guide the light where you need it and want it the most. and they're dimmable, and they're also bicolor, which means they have like a warm, the warm temperature, like kind of like a orangey glow, or pure white. And what's really cool is these also operate off batteries, so you can use batteries on there. So if you ever happen to be doing something outside, you could just bring this thing just like this, stick it on a stand. These are amazing. They are really, really great. And my top recommended lights. I have 4 of those, and I recommend them to everyone. Everyone that I recommend them to loves them. And Scott, that's a great question. Before I let you know where to sign up for the list, the other thing on the site that I'm about to send you, the sign up for the more tips, absolutely free. And I'm also in the process of filming, and will be out in July, is a full course about how to make your epic content from home. I'll talk a little bit about that, and I'll show you right here. You can go to chrisruggiero.com/learn, and I will show you this right there. Here it is. Make content from home. If you go over to chrisruggiero.com/learn, if you want to find out more, you can sign up at the bottom there. You can sign up for the list, and you will get your email soon that has specific recommendations and some more things that I'm working on. And I'm putting together this amazing course that, so you'll see here, I'll read it right off this thing. You can check it out. And it's going to have a 5-part video. Thanks, Scott, for putting that in there, that clickable link. Amazing. So in this course that's available as well, in addition to the free email sign up, it's 5-part video course. It's going to teach you everything you need to know about setting up your own epic home studio. We're going to have the overview and fundamentals of the value of audience experience and engagement. I'm going to talk about why it's important and some ground level fundamental things as a live entertainer, as a live streamer, as a podcast host, as somebody who's been on TV shows and traveled around the world to entertain people. I've been obsessed with creating experiences for audiences. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk a little bit about lighting, gear, and the best practices, fundamentals. So it'll be like a bigger version of what we did today, of like going really in depth with the lighting. We're going to talk about audio, gear, and best practice fundamentals again. So like what we did today, we kind of touched on some audio gear, but we didn't get to talk about, some more devices, like these devices and different devices that you can use to not only do live streaming, but to create content in other ways. Then we're going to talk about set design. So this is my home. This is my living room. Not like a proper, space that's dedicated to filming. And it's not a full big studio set that I go somewhere. I built it all in my living room. And I'm going to teach you about like how some of the things that I did here in the living room that could help you make your space specifically unique to yours. And then we're going to talk about camera settings. So that's another big one. People often want to change their camera from auto mode, where the camera just guesses, to manual mode, where you get to dial in exactly how you want your camera to look. So we're going to talk about camera settings and tips, and also some of the gear that you might find useful for live streaming, like capture cards, and we'll talk about all the things in manual mode on your camera. White balance, what's exposure, what's an f-stop? Who knows what an f-stop is? I don't know. Well, I know, but you might not know. And I'll teach you. I'll teach you what that means, how that affects how bright your image is, how that affects how blurry the background is. What is your exposure? There's all these things that feel complicated. I'm going to explain them in a simple, easy way, so that if you buy a camera that has manual mode, you can make your stuff look exactly how you want it to look without being at the mercy of the camera making the decisions for you. If you buy an expensive camera, it'll be awesome, but it'll be even more awesome if you learn how to use it. So 5-part video series there. You can see at the bottom, you can sign up for more tips or pre-order the course. And go check out the details there. If you pre-order the course, it's 50% off for like the next, I don't know, it might go away tomorrow. So order it now if you want. 50% off the course. You're going to learn everything about making epic content from home. So drop a boom, boom, boom. Let's go back to this. Boom. There we go. So thank you guys so much for joining in. We're about 30 minutes in right now, which is pretty good. We will probably kick out of here in 2 minutes. We'll leave it open for one final round of questions. If you have a question, drop it in the comment. We'll tie it all up in a question if anyone has one. Otherwise, I would really encourage you guys to start playing around. I get questions all the time, and it's almost always from people who haven't tried anything. They say, oh, how did you do this? How did you do this on your camera? When oftentimes it would be just as easy to, try something. Set up, I developed all my setup and everything just by testing things and trying things. And it was really just trial and error. And I developed, okay, I like when the light comes here. Oh, I really like those backlights coming from the behind. And I like this camera setting, and I like this audio, and I like this microphone, and I tried different things until I kept developing it. So I really encourage you guys to keep trying new things. And there's like really nothing to lose. Like you can try something, and if you don't like it, or if the audience doesn't like it, then you can try something different and switch it up. And sign up for my email list, which I'll have tips and recommended gear things pop out if you want to get some like free tips. Sign up for that email list. And if you're ready to like really kick your stuff into the next level, you can pre-order for the course. And here we go. Scott has, thanks, Priscilla. I love your set. Thank you so much. Scott, one final question here. Scott says, how much do you think it would cost to set up a studio at home right now on a budget? So it's like if you have a few things at home, most of us have like a little area, maybe your office desk or your desk in your bedroom looks cool. Or like a lot of people have just a really cool bedroom that throw one extra light into your bedroom. And one of my, a friend of mine, Sky Cowan's Sky Life on YouTube, like her main YouTube set is literally in her bedroom in LA, and it looks great. She has like cool background. She's sitting on her bed. So she literally sets up her camera, puts on a light, and records these YouTube videos, and they get tons of views. She has like huge following. So I think people think it needs to be like this whole elaborate thing. If you have, most people could come up with like a really good setup with either what they have already using their phone and just find a corner of your house or your apartment or your bedroom that looks really cool. Or there's some cameras out right now that are a couple $100 that are amazing. There's microphones that are $40 that are amazing. There's a laptop that you can use to live stream and stuff. So like if you are really serious about getting creative, I think most people can do it with what they literally have already. And at the first level, like the tightest budget, I think you could spend like a couple $100 and really be up and running in like the Sony ZV-1 now is like $600 camera, and it's incredible. Throw a little microphone on top of that or not. And, you'll probably need a capture card for going live, but for, a couple $100, you could be up and running. And the good thing about all of this stuff is you never need to buy all of it at once. You can upgrade your camera and then save up for another month or two, and then upgrade your microphone and then upgrade your lighting. It's not like you need to go out and spend hundreds of dollars instantly. You can maybe buy a light, and that'll be a big improvement. And those lights, for $50 or $100, sometimes you can get one or two of these lights that are going to be really awesome. So again, it comes down to what I said earlier of just testing and trying things and jumping in. Just go, what I'm saying, Scot Nery and Rob, fans of the Just Go book. So cool. That looks like we've got all the questions answered. Check out again for people that looks like the numbers of people just tuning in now. You missed it, you guys. So if you missed all of this, you can check out the replay here on Facebook. I think everyone's watching on Facebook and not on YouTube, so that's cool. And again, go to chrisruggiero.com/learn. Sign up for the email list, which will give you the gear recommended list and some additional tips and tricks. And if you're ready to kick it out of the ballpark, pre-order the course, which is a 5-part video series getting you up and running. All right. Thanks, guys. And drop a comment after this live ends. Feel free to drop a comment additionally on this thread rather than sending me a private message. Drop it on this comment thread so that other people can learn from what you are working on. So that's it for now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening and participating. We will see you on the next one. Goodbye.